that He is in charge and He's taking care of us. Important for our bodies.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Edward McLean, co-owner of Uzima Lifestyle Center. I just want to invite you to listen to this amazing health presentation entitled 8 Keys to Optimize Your Health. Our presenter for this series is my wife, Dr. Janice McLean. She's a graduate of Loma Linda University. She has a doctorate degree in naturopathic medicine, which is an alternative to traditional medicine. She has a PhD degree. She also has been working in public health for a number of years. Therefore, she is more than qualified to do justice to this topic. So without any further ado, I introduce to you now our presenter for this series, 8 Keys to Optimize Your Health, Dr. Janice McLean.
Zap on healthy habits, key number 7. Welcome to Optimize Your Health. I'm so grateful that you joined us last week when we looked at M, maximum rest, and I, include sunlight. Today is our final episode. We will look at Z, zap on healthy habits, and E, daily exercise. So here we go. Key number 7, zap on healthy habits. When we think of zapping on healthy habits, we are thinking about God's plan for us. God has made us to live a balanced life. And this means that we must zap those things that are not good for us and use moderately those things that are beneficial to our bodies. So then, when we zap on healthy habits, we are actually being temperate in all things. We should use intelligently the things that are good for us and do away with those things that are harmful to our bodies. In other words, zapping on healthy habits means living a balanced life. And this is what is God's plan for us. When we zap on healthy habits, we are exhibiting self-control. And self-control and the word temperance go together. So temperance means to exercise self-control. Of course, this definition may include abstaining from harmful things, but it also encompasses maintaining a balance in every aspect of our lives. It was the Greek philosopher Xenophon who said temperance can be defined as moderation in all things, and that is all things healthful, and total abstinence from all things that are harmful to the body. Yes, and this is supported by one of my favorite authors. She said, true temperance teaches us to dispense entirely with everything hurtful and to use judiciously that which is helpful. And that comes from the book Patriarchs and Prophets, page 562. Now, the Bible also supports this idea of being temperate in all things, or in other words, zapping those things that are not good for us. Listen to what Ecclesiastes 10 and verse 1 says. As dead flies give perfume a bad smell, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. So, when we indulge in things that are not good for us, it destroys our body. So that is why we need to be temperate. Even in the things that are good for us, we need to be judicious in the way we use them. We are told that the whole life can be ruined by only one bad habit. The best way to avoid this is never to try harmful things. Do you know that the person who is a drunkard today, or an addict, or a smoker, it all began with one drink, taking one little bit of drugs, or starting one cigarette. So the bad habits creep up on us. As you start doing these harmful things, you become addicted, and pretty soon you realize that you are out of control. So staying away from those things altogether makes a lot of good sense. So then, the goal in zapping on healthy habits is doing those things that are beneficial and moving away from those things that are harmful. The goal, therefore, is we need to make sure to enjoy optimum health. We are doing those things to protect our bodies physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So one of the things we need to be mindful of is zapping the unhealthy habits. That involves not only alcohol, tobacco, and drug use, but rather it encompasses every aspect of our lifestyle. Because after all, we are holistic beings. Now, what are the things we need to avoid? Listen to what my favorite author says again. The stimulating diet and drink of this day are not conducive to best state of health. Tea, caffeinated beverages, coffee, and tobacco are all stimulating and contains poison. They are not only unnecessary, they are harmful and should be discarded. If we would add to knowledge temperance, then we will enjoy a better quality of health. And that is from the book Counsels on Diets and Food, page 420. Now, we talked about alcohol. Did you know that 30 seconds after your first sip, that alcohol races into your brain? And what does it do? It slows down the chemical and the pathways of your brain cell, and so that is able to block the messages. The messages are not sent accurately, and this alters also your mood. It slows your reflexes. It throws your body totally out of balance. You also cannot think straight. This means that you may not even be able to recall what you did a few minutes ago. So you are struggling with your long-term memory. So alcohol is very dangerous for the body. Now, Proverbs 23:31 and to 35 says it this way. This is the biblical counsel on alcohol. Do not gaze at wine when it's red, when it sparkles in the cup, when it goes down smoothly. In the end, it bites like a snake, and it has poison like a viper. Yes, your eyes will become red and see strange sights, and your mind imagine confusing things. You will be like one sleeping on a high sea, lying on top of the rigging. They hit me, you will say, but I am not hurt. They beat me, but I don't feel. When will I wake up so I can find another drink? So alcohol is very addictive, and it leads to confusion. It allows you to get into a state where you're not able to reason and think straight. And so it is very damaging to your body. So we need to follow the counsel found in Proverbs 23:31 to 35. When one takes alcohol, it affects the brain, as I said a few minutes ago. Alcohol interferes with the brain's communication pathways, and it can also affect the way the brain looks and the way the brain works. These disruptions can change your mood and behavior, and it makes it even harder to think clearly. It affects your move as well as your coordination. Alcohol doesn't only affect your brain, it also affects your heart. Drinking a lot over time or too much at a single occasion can damage your heart, thus causing problems that include cardiomyopathy, which is the stretching and dropping of the heart muscles, arrhythmia, which is a regular heartbeat. It can lead to strokes and even high blood pressure. And this information comes from the National Institute of Health. Alcohol also affects the liver. Heavy drinking takes a toll on the liver and can lead to a variety of problems like liver inflammation, including cirrhosis, or the fattening of the liver, alcohol hepatitis, also fibrosis and cirrhosis. There is a picture of the cirrhosis of the liver. You see what the liver looks like? So these are all the damaging effects of alcohol on the liver. Alcohol also affects the pancreas. It causes the pancreas to produce toxic substances that can eventually lead to pancreatitis, which is a dangerous inflammation and the swelling of the blood vessels in the pancreas. And this can lead to improper digestion of your food. So alcohol affects all areas of your body. So zapping on healthy habits mean you got to kick the alcohol because it's of no use to your body. Zapping on healthy habits also means that you need to be mindful that drug addiction is one of the most common public health problems in the United States. Did you know that over 20 million people are current or former drug addicts in the United States? This is such a significant factor in health, and disease issues arrive as a result. It also leads to people doing things that they wouldn't normally do, and they can get into trouble with the law. It leads to vehicular accidents. And we also, as a result of taking drugs, we have problems, people not able to keep their jobs, and subsequently, they have financial difficulties. So drugs and alcohol are two things we need to zap as we think of being temperate in all things. Listen to what my favorite author says again. We are talking now about tobacco. In her day, tobacco, marijuana, heroin, and all these synthetic drugs were not available. As a matter of fact, let me just rephrase that. In biblical times, tobacco, marijuana, heroin, and all of these things that we see today, the synthetic drugs, they were not around. But somehow in the turn of the 19th century, tobacco began to spread. And this is what my favorite author says. Tobacco use is a habit which frequently affects the nervous system in a more powerful manner than does the use of alcohol. You heard me correctly. You know, sometimes we think that alcohol use is more dangerous than tobacco. But this is what she says. Tobacco use is a habit which frequently affects the nervous system in a more powerful manner than does the use of alcohol. It binds the victim in strong bands that the person is just hooked, and this habit becomes difficult to overcome. The body and the mind, in many cases, are thoroughly intoxicated with the use of tobacco. And this leads to all kinds of serious complications. As a matter of fact, we have the nicotine in tobacco, which is a poison. And the more freely this is used, the more it poisons the body. And the body will not operate at optimum level. So staying away from this is very important. And that was our counsel in the book's Child Guidance, page 403 and 404. Now, let's talk about how pervasive cigarette smoking is in the United States. Tobacco use remains the single largest preventable cause of death. I'm going to repeat that for emphasis. Tobacco use remains the single largest cause of death in the United States. Cigarette smoking kills more than 480,000 Americans every year. In addition, smoking-related illness in the United States costs a whopping $300 billion a year. And this includes nearly $170 billion, with a B, in direct medical care for adults and $156 billion in productivity loss. So you see, this is a very, very huge problem in the United States. Now, we talked about zapping the unhealthy habits of smoking, drinking, taking drugs. But there's some other unhealthy habits that we need to zap as well. What about anger? Anger has significant effects on your health. And some of the common effects are it can lead to headaches, depression, insomnia, as well as digestive problems. We also need to watch our sugar. Sugar can suppress the immune system. Yes, let me repeat that. Sugar can suppress the immune system, so it makes you susceptible to all kinds of illnesses. Sugar can upset the body's mineral balance. Sugar can also contribute to hyperactivity, anxiety, depression, and concentration difficulties. Did you know that sugar can also significantly cause your triglycerides to be higher than normal? Sugar can cause drowsiness and decrease activity in children over time. Yes, the moment they take it, they might become hyperactive, but later on they get drowsy and it can lead to decreased activity as well. So then, we need to remember the habits that we need to zap. tobacco, alcohol, drugs, anger, and sugar. We looked at the effects on our body. But I also want you to know that too much salt in our diet is also very dangerous. So that's another habit we need to zap, because excess salt can lead to hypertension, heart disease, heart attack, stroke, and heart failure. Now we come to another habit. Sometimes we become a little lonely and we choose to eat more than we need. Overeating can be very dangerous to the body. So here's another habit that we need to zap. When we overeat in the short term, it distresses our digestive system. Your stomach is used to a specific amount of food. And when you overeat, it stretches your stomach, causing things like bloating and gas. Overeating can also lead to acid reflux. Similarly, your stomach only has a limited amount of space. And so when you overeat, your food is not properly digested and it comes back up. So we need to be mindful of that. Overeating can also cause a rush of energy and then suddenly your body crashes. So overeating is another habit we need to zap. Now, let's talk about the long-term effect. I just mentioned the short-term effect of overeating. Over the long term, if we overeat, it can lead to heart disease, diabetes, increased risk of cancer, sleep apnea, weakened immune system, weight gain and obesity, and increased risk of stroke. Yes, overeating is very dangerous, so we need to be mindful of that. Let us always remember that it makes a lot of good sense to replace old habits with better ones. And if you fall, don't give up. Just start again. And this is what the law of temperance is all about. This is what it's all about when we talk about zapping on healthy habits and using judiciously those things that are beneficial to our body. Listen to what my favorite author says again. She says, temperance in eating, drinking, sleeping, and dressing are all part of the grand principle of temperance in our lives. Truth brought into the sanctuary of our soul will guide in the treatment of our body. Nothing that concerns the health of the human agent is to be regarded with indifference. Our eternal welfare, she says, depends on the use we make during this life of our time, our strength, and our influence. And that is taken from Child Guidance, page 63. So, we need to have a balance in our lives. Zap those things that are harmful and have a balance in those things that are good. So, we need to exhibit balance in our studying, in our working, in our dressing, in our eating, even in having fun, sleeping. All of those areas, we need to have a balance. We must be temperate in every aspect of our lives. Why must we be temperate? 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 20 says, "For you are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's." Jesus paid a high price for us. So we need to take care of these bodies by zapping on healthy habits and doing those things that are beneficial. My favorite author says again, A misuse of the body shortens the period of time which God designs shall be used in His service. By allowing ourselves to form wrong habits, by keeping late hours, by gratifying appetite at the expense of health, we lay the foundation for feebleness. By neglecting to take physical exercise, by overworking the mind and the body, we unbalance the nervous system. Yes. Those who thus shorten their lives by disregarding nature's law are guilty of robbery towards God. I'm going to read that over for emphasis. Those who thus shorten their lives by disregarding nature's laws are guilty of robbery towards God. We have no right to neglect or misuse our body, our mind, because we need these to be strong. When we do that, we are consecrating ourselves to God to be used by Him when we take care of our bodies, which is His temple. Now, in order to zap unhealthy habits, we need to evaluate our habits every day, as well as our customs and our motivations. Why our habits? We need to constantly ask ourselves why we do what we do. And if we are doing things just for fashion, we need to evaluate that. We need to do those things or practice those habits that are beneficial to us. What about customs? Customs are when someone does what you do, or because it's the way you taught that person. Now, we have to examine some of our traditions. Some of us have come from cultures where we eat a lot of sugar, we eat a lot of salt, we eat a lot of fats. We need to think about these things because these things can be damaging to our bodies. Not because our culture says so, we must do it blindly. We need to constantly evaluate our culture. And then our motivation. Our motivation should be bringing honor and glory to God through the things we eat, through the things we do, and in every area of our lives. So, let's look at our habits, let's look at our customs, and let's be motivated to do those things that will bring honor and glory to God. So what's our action plan for key number 7? Number 1, practice self-control. Number 2, avoid those things that are harmful: alcohol, tobacco, drugs, and other harmful substances. 3, stay away from sugar, extra salt, and processed foods. 4, eat healthy, exercise, rest, water, practice healthy habits. Explore things that would cause you to be healthy. Remember, balance is very important, and that's action step number 5. So here you have it. Z, zap on healthy habits. Exercise daily. Exercise daily is our 8th key to optimize our health. We have just discussed the Z, zapping on healthy habits. So now we are going to focus on exercise daily. God wants us to live life to the fullest. It has always been God's plan that we are happy and we live our lives to the fullest. Listen to what is stated in John 10:10. I am come that you may have life to the fullest. John 10:10. When we talk about daily exercise, We are not only talking about physical exercise, we are also talking about mental exercise, because both mental and the physical exercise benefits our health. Movement is life. It keeps us youthful and strong. We should be aware that exercise includes both mental and the physical movement, because both of these are important for our development. Remember that a fit mind promotes a fit body, and a fit body promotes a fit mind. So to optimize our health, we need both mental fitness and the physical fitness. Mental exercise. What is this all about? Daily, we should keep our brains active through mental activities. Mental activities put us in a positive frame of mind where we can embrace and enjoy the opportunity to learn new things. We need to always have the spirit of a learner. When we exercise that freedom of really wanting to explore new things, it benefits us mentally. Mental exercise also helps us to open our mind rather than being judgmental. It promotes respect and curiosity. It gives us the permission to want to explore new ideas rather than trying to confirm. Mental exercise also provides confidence when faced with unfamiliar situations. So daily, mental exercise is very important. Our brain is the controlling center of our bodies, so we need to utilize our brain. Utilizing our brain is of paramount importance. Research suggests that if our brain cells are not utilized, they die. And that was a study done in Washington State. It is therefore imperative that we exercise our minds. And how can we do so? We do so by reading interesting books, doing puzzles, memorizing things, learning new activities, expanding our vocabulary, learning a new language, and trying to use our non-dominant hand. These are some of the ways we are able to utilize our brain and strengthen the brain. For our brains to operate at optimum, we need to fuel the brain. I know what some of you are saying. I don't take breakfast. Breakfast is not my favorite. But I want to suggest to you that in order for your brain to be active, it needs fuel. And research involving adults and children indicate that breakfast might enhance your memory, your attention, the speed of processing information, reasoning, creativity, learning, and verbal abilities. Remember, your body was at rest for 7 to 8 hours during the night. So your body was recharging, was making new cells, and taking care of eliminating waste when the time comes, etc. So when you get up in the morning, you're ready for activity. If you try to run a car without fuel, you know what happens. Similarly, your brain cannot function if it's not properly fueled. So breakfast is one of the most important meals. So you need to fuel up your brain by eating a healthy breakfast. So let's focus on exercise. Our body is a marvelous machine that was designed for movement. So getting active can increase your physical strength, your resistance to disease, and exercise can improve your overall health. So exercising daily is a must if we want to optimize our health. Now, what happens when we exercise? During exercise, the cells use up more oxygen and produce increased amount of carbon dioxide. Your lungs and your heart work harder, and this is because more oxygen is utilized and you removed more carbon dioxide. Your breathing rate increases and you breathe more deeply. Your heart rate increases in order to transport the oxygenated blood. So you see, when you exercise, your body benefits significantly. Let's look at some different types of exercises. There are 4 different categories of exercises. The first category is what we call endurance. And these are the types of exercises that are done mainly to improve your breathing and your heart rate. There are different types of activities that are done physically, and we all know that. And these are called endurance exercises, or we can call them aerobics. And some of these include a brisk walk, jogging, climbing stairs, playing tennis, dancing, biking, doing work in the yard, doing work in your home, gardening, swimming laps, and many, many more. There are so many exercises that we can enjoy. Then we come to strength exercises. These are important for keeping your bones and your muscles strong and helping older adults maintain their independence. Strength training is beneficial in reducing falls and helping you to do everyday activities that require such things as lifting, such as carrying your groceries. And some examples of strength exercises are lifting free weights, using resistant machines in the gym, or using resistant bands as leverage as you do your weight or your other strength training. So the second category is strength. So we have endurance exercises, and then we have strength is the second category. Now we come to flexibility. These are exercises that can keep your body limber and help you maintain a wide range of motion. This is important because range of motion is often limited by things like arthritis. Here are some ways to improve your flexibility. Stretch various parts of your body every day, or you can do yoga. Then we come to balancing exercises. Practicing and improving balance is important for older adults because it can strengthen the body's core and help prevent falls. Here are some good examples of balance exercises. Heel to toe walking, standing on one spot, or practicing Tai Chi. You can also try to stand on one foot. Those are all balancing exercises. So we have it. We have endurance, we have strength, we have flexibility, and balance. These are categories of exercises. Now, exercise can increase one's life expectancy. Now, we are told that participation in regular physical activity, at least 30 minutes each day for 5 days a week, or 20 minutes of vigorous activity at least 3 times a week, is critical to sustaining our good health. So if you want to optimize your health, you need to exercise at least 30 minutes a day or 20 minutes of vigorous exercise at least 3 times a week. Youths are encouraged to exercise for at least an hour a day. Have your children run outside and enjoy the fresh air. As they do so, as they exercise, they are benefiting their bodies significantly. On this little chart we have here, we are told that if we follow the guidelines of exercising 30 minutes for 5 days a week, only by 50%, if we only follow it 50%, we increase our life expectancy by a year and a half. If we follow that guideline 100%, then our life expectancy will be increased 3.5 years. When we follow that 200%, we increase our life expectancy by 4 years. And if we triple that, we increase our life expectancy by 4.5 years. So exercise is very important to the quality of your health and the quality of your life. It also increases the years that you are able to live. Benefits of exercise. This one is a no-brainer. It controls your weight. The metabolic rate increases by exercise so that the more calories are burned. So the longer you exercise, the more calories you burn, and you're better able to control your weight. It also increases your lung capacity. You recharge the supply of oxygen. It improves your blood pressure because there is better circulation, and it strengthens the heart. It lowers your cholesterol, meaning it improves also the blood flow in your arteries, and you can reduce or reverse arteriosclerosis, that is the hardening of your arteries. Now, it also is able to relieve stress and tension and depression. It helps your body to get rid of toxic waste. It improves your sleep naturally without the side effects of pills. Yes, exercise helps you to get a better sleep pattern and a better night's sleep. It improves your metabolism. It helps to prevent also and treat various diseases like diabetes. Exercise also strengthens your bones. So it is able to counteract osteoporosis, which is actually when your bones are becoming very brittle. And when you fall, you can easily get a broken bone. But when you exercise, it strengthens those bones. So it reduces your risk of osteoporosis. It makes your bones stronger. It increases physical strength of your muscles so that you have more strength to do the activities of your daily life. It increases your posture. It decreases back problems. Exercise increases or improves your mood. It increases what we call that hormone endorphins, which are your normal or natural mood lifters. You heard me correctly. Exercises daily increases your endorphins level. So you're happier, you have a more positive outlook on life, and you enjoy a better quality of life altogether. It boosts your energy. Regular exercise increases your energy and it reduces fatigue. So here are some other things that regular exercise does. It helps you prevent and manage certain chronic conditions like stroke, metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, depression, anxiety, many types of cancer, arthritis, and falls. So, take a tip from me. Exercise daily. You are going to be glad that you did. Now, what are the benefits of walking? Many people are aware that walking is one of the best exercises. Now, what walking does? Walking is simple, yet it's powerful. It can help you to stay trim, improve your cholesterol levels, strengthens your bone, keep your blood pressure in check. It lifts your mood and lowers your risk for a number of diseases. I mentioned this earlier. Things like diabetes and heart disease, for example. A number of studies have shown that walking and other physical activity can also improve your memory and resist age-related memory loss. So when you walk, it benefits you in a number of ways. Did you know that studies are showing that exercise reduces your risk of glaucoma? It boosts your endorphins, I said earlier. It limits your sickness because it boosts your immune system. It improves your heart health. It strengthens your muscles. It builds your bone mass. It also improves your blood pressure. It limits things like colon cancer, strengthens your legs. You burn fat. It improves even you preventing various falls and other accidents. So walking is something good for you. Why not think about doing a little walk at least 3 or 4 times a week, or if you can, 5 times a week for 30 minutes. It will do your body a lot of good. There are other kinds of activities that you can engage in that will be beneficial to your health. For example, interval training. And what I mean by this, an activity that you start very slowly, or you can walk very slowly and then you pick up the pace. Or if you are lifting weights, you lift a small amount of weight and then you go to a higher amount, or the repetition of the number of times you are lifting that weight. That is what we call interval training. Slow pace to a high pace. Okay? But do not overdo. Then you can think of things like swimming, squatting, push-ups, cycling, jogging. All of these things benefit your body. One little tip: do something that you like. If you do an activity that you like, chances are you will be more consistent because it wouldn't be a bother to you. So choose something that you're comfortable with and make that your daily exercise routine. It can be walking. You may want to jump rope a little bit, or whatever it is that is enjoyable to you. Do that activity. And as you keep on doing it, you will find so many benefits to your health. Now, just as being active is beneficial to your body, being inactive is detrimental to your health. Physical inactivity leads to at least 250,000 deaths annually in the United States. You heard me correctly. Physical inactivity leads to about 250,000 deaths annually in the United States. And more than half Americans fail to get enough physical activity. Regular physical activity decreases total mortality rate as well as the incidence of mortality from things like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and some cancers. Physical activities improve your mental health. It also controls things like diabetes, hypertension, your lipid level. It prevents osteoporosis. And especially in older people, it sustains mobility, reduces disability, and decreases your risk for falls. And that comes from information from the Department of Health and Human Services. So, when you're inactive, what it does to the body? It produces less oxygen in your lungs. Your skin would lack the nutrients that leads to unhealthy skin. Even your hair. You can suffer things like exhaustion, headaches, low mood, and difficulty concentrating. Yes, inactivity does all of those things. When you are inactive, your muscles and joints are not strong. And therefore, you lose muscle mass. You may even gain weight, and your muscles and your joints will become weaker. Inactivity also affects your stomach and your intestine. It can cause constipation. It affects your bone. You can get things like osteoporosis. And it also affects other organs of your body. Your body becomes weak and more likely to become sick. So inactivity is something we have to be mindful of. Our bodies were made for motion. It was made for activity. So why not try to exercise? Because it would do your body well. The effects of inactivity. It increases your chance of developing hypertension. It increases your risk of developing heart diseases. It also increases your risk for osteoporosis. I mentioned that earlier. Did you know it also increases your risk for colon and breast cancer? In addition to that, it doubles your risk for obesity. And obesity is a very important aspect as it relates to other diseases. It is a precursor to things like hypertension and diabetes, etc. So you don't want to be obese. You want to maintain your normal weight. But inactivity can lead to obesity. It can increase your chances also of gallstone formation, inactivity. Another very important thing, it can increase your onset of diabetes. And people who are inactive, they have a higher chance of developing things like depression and anxiety. So we need to remember that being inactive has severe effects on our body. There is strong evidence that shows that physical inactivity increases our risk for many adverse health conditions. As a matter of fact, it is described as one of the major problems in the United States. And we are told that it's a major part of the non-communicable diseases, and it leads to things, as I mentioned before, like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and the different kinds of cancer. Inactivity shortens our lifespan as well. Because of the fact that the world's population, maybe 50% or more, are not constantly active, this presents a major public health problem. And that is found in the Lancet Journal, and that was written in the year 2012. So inactivity affects us in many ways. Now, let's get active, because exercise is very beneficial. If you are not exercising currently, you will want to be mindful about how you start. Talk to your doctor. Get its clearance first. Start slowly in whatever you're going to do, and do something that you enjoy. When you're exercising, I want you to remember these 3 stages. Warm up. You need to make sure you warm up your body. And this is very important because you're preparing your body for activity. Spend 5 to 10 minutes warming up, stretching, and doing some jumping jacks or different things like that. Stretching your hands, stretching your feet, and so forth. That is warming up your body. Then be involved in your vigorous activity that you can do for like 20 minutes. And we are going on the 30 minutes activity 5 days per week. So your 30 minutes of vigorous activity, and when you finish your vigorous activity, you cool down. You cool down for 5 to 10 minutes. The cooling down brings your body back to that resting state. So this is very important. You warm up, you're preparing your body for activity, you get involved in your vigorous activity, and then you slow down or cool down. Warm up, vigorous activity, and cool down. 5 to 10 minutes warm up, vigorous activity 20 minutes or more, and then you cool down for 5 to 10 minutes. How much exercise should I get a day? Get 30 minutes of exercise at least 5 days a week. If you can't do that, what about getting 150 minutes of moderate activity for the week? Now, if you do the 30 minutes a day, 30 by 5 would bring you to the 150 minutes. If you're not able to do that, then do 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic exercises a week. Or you can do a combination of moderate and vigorous exercises. And please remember to include strength training. Especially as you're getting older, including some strength training is important because it helps the integrity of your bones, help your bones to become stronger. So how much exercise again? 30 minutes, that's recommended by the World Health Organization. 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, or 150 minutes, which would be 30 minutes, 5 days a week, or 75 minutes of vigorous activity a week. And that 75 minutes can be divided up into moderate and vigorous activity, but also remember your strength training. So what are some of the guidelines for your exercise? You need to learn what is your safe 10-second pulse for your age. And you should be doing that during your exercise. Do not do excessive exercise because this can be harmful to your body. Learn how to count your 10-second pulse beat and exercise up to that degree. When you exercise, your heart rate goes up. But you don't want your heart rate to go up so high that you are breathless, right? So take your pulse. You're going to take your pulse for 10 seconds and you can multiply it by 6. And this gives you an idea of what your pulse rate was, right? Then, very important, exercise to the intensity that you are barely able to carry on a conversation, right? So if you are not able to carry on a conversation, you know you're doing too much. So you need to slow down a little bit. So number one, learn what your 10-second pulse rate is. Then exercise to the intensity that you're able to carry on a conversation. And 3, if you should develop chest pain, stop immediately. Follow the advice of your doctor. Don't push your body too much. Exercise is beneficial, but as with anything, too much of a good thing is bad. So do not go overboard with your exercise. Do your exercise in moderation. You can do a little bit of intensity, but make sure you're not at the point where you're developing chest pain or you're totally out of breath and exhausted. So the principles, again, learn what your safe 10-second pulse rate is. Number 2, exercise to the intensity where you can carry on a conversation. And if you develop chest pain, stop right away. Now, what's our action plan for key number 8, daily exercise? Create a workout plan. That is, create an exercise plan. Exercise 30 minutes at least 5 days a week. Remain consistent. Do something that you like so the possibility of you continuing is significantly increased. Do mental exercises daily. Have an exercise buddy. Accountability buddy is very important because it keeps you on track. Get somebody that can encourage you, that you can work out with and track your progress. So here you have it, the 8th key, exercise daily. So in this series, we covered how to optimize your health. The O is for oxygen. We talked about being outdoors and enjoying the fresh air. The P is for plant-based whole food nutrition. eating the foods that will benefit your health. A variety of fruits and vegetable grains and nuts. This is what God intended for us. T, trust in God. We need to trust in God to maintain mental health. Knowing that God is in control, we can trust Him no matter what we are going through. The I in optimize is increase water. We talked about the importance of having 6 to 8 glasses of water every day. We talked about how to take your water in sips and the benefits of water to our overall health. M, maximum sleep. 8 hours of sleep a night. We talked about the hours before midnight is twice as beneficial to your body. We talked about sleep hygiene, making sure you put your rest on a pedestal, and you know what that means. So the second I in optimizing our health is we need to make sure that we include sunlight. We talked about the benefits of vitamin D. It strengthens our immune system, it strengthens our bones, and we talked about the importance of getting our vitamin D level checked. So that's the I. Then the Z, zap unhealthy habits. That's key number 7. And our final key, exercise daily. So key number 1, oxygen. Key number 2, plant-based whole food nutrition. Key number 3, trust in God. Key number 4, increase water. Key number 5, maximum rest. Key number 6, include sunlight. Key number 7, zap unhealthy habits. And key number 8, exercise daily. When you follow these simple keys, you will unlock the secrets to optimizing your health. So here you have it. Optimize your health. Thank you very much for joining us for this series. God bless you.